yes, lift the car and lower it, but all those things are banned nowadays.
Come the end of this opening day, the event will switch from predominantly gravel to fully tarmac for Saturday and Sunday, which is going to be a lot of work back at service, replacing a whole host of key components. As Brazil World Rally Team driver Daniel Oliveira now explains, starting with tyres.
The tarmac tire, normally we need to have more contact with the ground, so it's more like a slick and circuit racing tire. So we have more contact, more grip, so and we don't need, as we can see in the gravel, we don't need this big wall, so that in the gravel we need for the rocks and the huge impacts, bumping and these things. Good. Next step is the disc. As we know in the tarmac we came with much more speed normally than the gravel, and we need much more precise braking. As you can see here, it's much bigger. So the overheat is higher, the speed that became is high, so we need much more precise disc to have a good brake and everything going well. So the next step we came and look easier here is the suspension. Here we have the gravel suspension. As we can see, together with this, it's much longer. The highest difference, as we can see in the television, is the gravel tire is much more higher, and you can see the movement much more than the tarmac. So we have much more travel to work with the different surface and bumping and difficult roads like Greece. So we need to have much more travel to absorb this and have the good grip for the car, for the movement also. And the tarmac is much simple. You need to have a car much more close to a circuit. And normally you have much nicer roads, more flowing, fast speed, good precise brake. So we need more, a sticker car normally, much more precise, sensor of gravity much more lower. So everything to be like this.
Thanks, Danny. Back to the action, the second loop of 3 stages on this first day, with more fun and games on the mix of gravel and tarmac. And as you can see, there's little sign of the weather improving. Mikko Hirvonen has struggled running near the back of the field today, facing the worst of the muddy conditions. The Sardinia winner has managed to fight his way up to third, though. Oh, but a big moment for Mikko and Jarmo Lehtinen, off into the undergrowth briefly. I think they've got away with it, but with his teammates hot on his heels, that could be costly. And moving back to the epic mixed surface challenge through the 44 kilometres of Terra Alta, Chris Atkinson is already into the stage. But that is a very stationary John Cooper Works with broken differential. He will go no further. The high attrition rate continues. But one man who has survived is WRC rookie Hans Weiss. With a Dutchman really wide here, and he's hit that small tree. Thankfully, no serious damage done, and Hans is soon back on his way, but these tricky conditions still throwing up all sorts of problems.
It was so slippy, we just must survive, and we went also off 2 times, and 1 time we cut the whole tree, so it was a hard stage, and no, I'm happy that I'm here, and okay.
Nobody at the finish?
No, there's nobody. But it is incredible, you know, this is my 2nd time I have conditions like this, so I have to learn some big things, so thank you.
Weiss enjoying his challenging first outing at the sports top level then. And it's been quite a day for Mads Osberg as well. The Norwegian has made light work of these slippery roads and continues to build on his advantage out front. A terrific performance so far from Mads and Jonas Andersen. Oyt Tänak started the afternoon loop just a couple of seconds behind the top spot. The Estonian has really begun to struggle in these slippery roads. And that is another spin for Oyt. The M-Sport man having a really rough time out there, and he is going to slip down the order. One man moving in the opposite direction, though, is Jari-Matti Latvala. Now using all soft compound Michelin's Ford's Flying Fin is on the attack. With much of the field understandably opting for a safe pace, Latvala has thrown caution to the wind and is throwing that Fiesta RS through the sodden stages. He storms up to third place with the second fastest time in the mixed surface Terra Alta. One man who will go no further though is Evgeny Novikov. Immediately after claiming the first stage win for DMAC tyres, the Russian strong run has ended after sliding off the road and into a ditch. Just one stage remains on this breathless day one, and it's the brand new 2-kilometre blast along the Salou seafront. With Tanak slipping back, Loeb is now Osberg's closest challenger in second. Back on the tarmac here, and that is a taste of things to come for the rest of the weekend as we watch our leader Mads Osberg entertain the Spanish fans for the last time today. The Norwegian has been the undoubted star of the opening leg. In the most treacherous conditions, he's kept it neat and tidy to preserve his place at the top of the standings going into day two. And after a difficult start to the weekend, Sebastian Loeb has capitalised on Tanak's off to climb to second place overall. Carefully picking his way through the wet streets of Salou. And having won here in Spain since 2005, of course he'll be looking to reel in Mads over the next couple of days. So at the end of an extraordinary day here in Spain, Osberg's lead stands at just over 27 seconds from Loeb, with Jari-Matti Latvala a further 20 seconds behind, and remarkably closing out our top six is SWRC runner Craig Breen. So Mads sets the early pace, but there's plenty more pain in Spain to come, including an impromptu off-road excursion or two. Before that, the next big job for the crews, transforming the setup from gravel to tarmac, which the crack WRC mechanics will do in the time it takes most of us to change a puncture.
If you were your main dealer, that would be a couple of days job or a day's job. As it is, we could do it in 45 minutes.
Welcome back to the final round of the 2012 World Rally Championship, where a completely different challenge lies ahead for day two of the Rally d'Espagne. The 3 stages to come snake out to the northwest of host town Salou, and we're back on Spain's traditional tarmac. So for the second consecutive rally, we've had a crazy opening day, but in Spain the drivers now face a complete switch in surface. The 20 kilometres of La Masara's twisty tarmac roads are first. And here is our rally leader, the star of the opening leg. Can Mads Osberg hold on to his advantage of 27 seconds? The problem for Mads is he's facing the daunting prospect of holding off the finest asphalt driver the sport has ever seen. And unbeaten here since 2005, Sebastian Loeb will be determined to maintain that record on what could be his last Rally Catalunya. So with the world champion wasting no time engaging tarmac mode, let's enjoy this first taste of these fast-flowing asphalt stages. World champions actually struggled to match Osberg through the early splits. Let's see how he compares to the Norwegian's time of 11:40.8. He is quicker, but Loeb would have wanted more. Only 2.3 seconds made up. So that's the first two on their way. The third man hoping to build a challenge for the top spot is Ford's Jari-Matti Latvala. With Loeb not quite woken up, could that provide an opportunity for the Finn? He started the day just under 20 seconds behind, and Jari's splits have looked really impressive. Wow, that's 7.1 quicker than Loeb and 9.4 better than the rally leader. Quite some start to the day for Latvala. He was the big mover in stage 7, taking a healthy step closer to the leading pair. Hirvonen slipped slightly adrift in 4th, with Tanak still looking safe in 5th. Over to the first running of El Priorat next, and the fans are already lining the road by the famous El Malar hairpin. The passionate Spanish spectators, as ever, a key component to this event's fabulous atmosphere. And back in the stage, our rally leader Osberg is already underway. But he's off the road, and that is the sign that Mads is feeling the pressure. He's dropped right down into the ditch, and he is completely disorientated. The time is ticking away, And Mads could lose the lead here despite his big lead, creeping his way through the undergrowth. He needs to find a way back on the road. Disaster early on for the adapter driver. He is back on his way and welcomed by the fans at the hairpin, but it could be goodbye to the top spot. That must have rattled him. Mads has lost the best part of half a minute already. Oh, and almost another big off. Osberg on the ragged edge at the moment.
Yeah, I should have been a bit more clever because I went off the road. I just tried to push really hard and went off and lost a lot of time. So very, very bad decision. I'm really disappointed now, but it's still a long way to go, and we just have to try to get back into the rhythm.
Here comes Loeb now, looking much more comfortable in the car after some pre-stage setup tweaks. And he will have heard from the team that Osberg has dropped time ahead of him. Surely the world champion is on course to move into the lead. The fans at the El Malar hairpin delighted to see the Frenchman passing by. And with Osberg in trouble, Loeb does indeed move into the lead for the first time this weekend. It was a good start to the morning for Jari-Matti Latvala on today's opening stage, but the Finn is not matching the split times of Sebastian through here. More critically, though, he is going to move up to second ahead of the ailing Mads Osberg. Well, it's all go at the front of the field. Mikko Hirvonen is beginning to slip adrift of the leading group meanwhile. The Finn just doesn't seem to be able to get to grips with the DS3 on damp tarmac. He sits in a solid fourth place for now. Catalan roads, as ever, wide and flowing as Mikko searches for the fastest line. So both Loeb and Latvala have capitalised on Osberg's mistake as he drops down to third. Mads is now into stage 9. That off in El Priorat must have shattered his confidence. Part of that can be blamed on his tyre choice today. Expecting damper conditions, he opted for a mixture of both soft and hard compounds, but the rain just hasn't come. Meanwhile, Sebastian Loeb is on course for another stage win here. Normal service has been resumed. The world champion back in his familiar position at the top of the leaderboard. But after an extensive testing program on tarmac, Latvala's performance on the black stuff has improved significantly. He now seems the only man who can take the fight to Loeb. Latvala is struggling to match Loeb's pace at the moment, and that mud on the road won't be helping. Latvala really struggling to get the power down. It's incredibly slippery in places. Grip a guessing game at times for the Finn after the preceding cars have passed through.
It's difficult to do. What do you follow it? And I think they follow. He maybe followed the line to cut a little bit, and then it spreads all over the road. So that's the game what you get, maybe your first car on the road. But Loeb is really good. I don't know. I would like to fight against him, but I don't know where I can find that little bit.
So at the midway point of the day, Sebastian Loeb's lead stands at 18.9 seconds over Latvala, with Mads now another half a minute further back. Mikko Hirvonen remains fourth, with Tanak in fifth. Close eye on the top three of Loeb, Latvala and Osberg in particular. Already the split times are once again showing that Mads Osberg is off the pace. The Norwegian really struggling for confidence in the car today, and he is losing ground. If this carries on, he could well slip back behind Mikko Hirvonen to fourth.
Was quite okay the stage, but it's just that little extra. I need to try to get that back because Loeb took, I think it took 8 seconds of us now on this stage, and it's quite a lot of time, so we shouldn't lose that much, but not 100% happy with the setup, so I will try to change the car a little bit and hopefully we can increase the speed.
Fast approaching the end of the stage is our rally leader Sebastian Loeb. He is the man to beat now. Those early setup problems a thing of the past as he continues to extend his lead at the front. The world champion, of course, hoping to stretch his winning run here to 8 years. He's always excelled on Spain's fast-flowing tarmac roads.